All right, so we were joined by Anthony Amos today of Sneaker Fair Kicks. And you really just take sneakers, you take art, you put it all together, and that's something that he's been doing for the last 30 years. So, really talked about the journey to coming into this space full time, but really what it took because this was something that he's been involved in pre pandemic. So, having to go through that and then still having to go through that, how he was able to perfect his craft and still propel himself and his business to success. And then, shout out to all the video viewers because he showed off some very, very, very dope projects. So, I encourage all of you to tap in with him and he can definitely bring your vision to life. And then lastly, he left us with a dope initiative and even a call to action, something that he's doing with one of his partners to open up the youth to the ideas of art and entrepreneurship and how you can mesh the two and really be successful with it. So without further ado, man, enjoy episode 90, Creative Customization. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast, coming to you with some new content for a new month. We definitely had a very good February, from it just being Black History Month to us being able to partner with the Lash Doctor for a giveaway to us releasing a very nice video done by my boy Wilson, man, and getting a lot of feedback and love on that. But, the grind continues, the craft continues. So very excited to be sitting down with my guy Anthony today, man, somebody who from the time that we were able to connect on social media, because I've never met him in person, but from the time we connected, showing nothing but love, giving me feedback, commented on the post, shared the post, and on top of all that, still has branded himself, still practices his craft, as y'all can see from the dope setup he has in the back. He got a little bit of everything going on, but he's definitely going to, we're going to pick his brain today, and maybe he can even offer a service or a product to you when it's all said and done. So, Anthony, how you doing, bro? How's everything?
Hey man, I'm blessed. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying life. It's another day in the studio. I'm just banging out some work.
Okay. Come on now. When you in your studio, when you in your creative space, a time to really be you, it's no better feeling than that, no better blessing than that. So for the people out there, man,
Absolutely.
I know we're gonna have some newcomers. I know we're gonna have some people from your side tapping. I know we're gonna have some people from my side who show love. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then can you two tell us what brings you on the podcast today, man? We see the studio set up, so what you got for us?
Right, right. Okay. So for those who don't know, my name is Anthony on IG. I go by Sneaker Fair Kicks. Um, man, I'm 33. I'll be 33 as of the day this post. Um, yeah, 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 yeah. Uh what I do is I customize sneakers. So that's why you see all this setup. It's paint, all this setup. So I customize sneakers. It's a full time gig. So I just do a lot of exclusive, big projects as far as customizing goes. I mean, I've been in art for 30 years now. So um I live in Chicago. What got me on the podcast, I mean, was obviously, connected with my boy Tomorrow over here. And, I just had to get on, show him some love. I feel like this is a growing industry, customizing sneakers. And so I just wanted to share some light on it and share my perspective with the people, bro.
Absolutely, man. Okay, so one, the birthday blessings. Look at the timing in that. So I love to hear that. I love to see that most definitely. So definitely, wishing you more life, more blessings, more success, a little bit of everything. But okay, you sparked my
Appreciate
interest
it.
very early, man. You said full time. You said 30 years. You said So okay, how how really that's my question. How? But I'm gonna kind of dive a little bit deeper. So at what point
Right,
did
right, right.
you like you said, you've been in art 30 years. So was it always sneaker customization? Did you start off maybe like painting, drawing? Did you always just kind of have the niche when it came to like sneakers?
No, so it wasn't always sneakers. I didn't get into that till like middle school. Um, so it was always like drawing and stuff. So I started drawing when I was 4, and that just started as a thing to keep me busy because at that point, like my dad was always at work. My mom stayed at home during that point in time, and I guess I was driving up the wall. So what she did was she gave me some construction paper, gave me some crayons, and said, "Hey, do your thing." And so my response was like, "Do what?" And she was like, "I don't know. just use your imagination, which, I guess turned out to be the magic words. And so what got me into like doing it, like taking it real serious, was for whatever reason, and they'll probably kill me for saying this, was that they never cut the front grass. I don't know what was going on. They never cut the front grass, right? So it was always like bees and stuff
Mhm.
like in the grass. And every time I would go outside, bro, I promise I would get stung. Like I was getting stung like multiple times in like a week, bro. I don't know what was
Yeah,
happening.
nah.
So I got to a point where I was like, forget it. I'm not going outside. I'm just gonna play around the house. I don't care, And so that led to her giving me the construction paper and the famous words, use your imagination. And I mean, it stuck. It was something I could do years in when I started to go to like school and stuff like that. That was what I did to pass time. It was what I did when I didn't want to go outside, keep me out of trouble,
Mhm.
things like that. And the fam, I don't know how, was scraping together money for me to take like personal lessons and to go to like the Art Institute of Chicago in the summer and stuff like that. So I was fortunate to have it like reinforced in me, like, okay, this is possible. This is something that you could do. Like however you want to take it, however far you want to go, the possibilities are there for you. So that's how it started. But as far as shoes go, shoes came into the picture much later. So I was about 12, 13, probably 13. And I was getting ready to go into the new school year, right? So the issue was I was going into a new school year and they didn't have enough money for everybody to get new shoes that year. So I got left out because, I got younger siblings. So I got left out of that one, which made sense. And, and they was like, well, your shoes don't look too bad. You'll be all right. And I'm like, hey, this is a very important time to have like, fresh clothes, right? Your gear needs to be clean. I'm in middle school. Now we starting to get into reputations. And like, I can't go out like that. So I took the crispiest white pair I had and I was like, you know what? It's something I could do. And I just had an epiphany, was just like, yo, like go in the art box, get your stuff, and just do something to them, whatever you think of. So I just, I took like some like paint markers I had and I just designed them up. And I took my happy self to school was just like, at least they look good to me. If nobody likes them, I like them. And so this is '04 or '03. No, it was before that. But either way, like Nelly had just recently dropped Air Force Ones, the single. So like, everybody, not only wanted Air Force Ones, but they wanted like custom Air Force Ones, because that was the whole point of that song, was that, that him and the Lunatics had shoes nobody had. And so people was coming to school in like all types of colorways, and Nike was producing crazy colorways for Air Force Ones in response to that song. Well, I come to school in shoes that it's impossible for anybody to have. So, that turned into a thing of like, where you get them, and how could, this, that, and the third. And people knew that I drew. And so they was like, well, did you do that to them? And so I was like, yeah, of course, why wouldn't I? And that turned into like at that point I wasn't selling them per se. I was just like doing it just for fun. But that turned into something in high school where I did make start to make money, because I didn't work at all through high school. But I made money through customizing stuff for people, which was comparable to like what a teenager would get, in the early 2000s. So that's what kind of like solidified it as something to do outside of just doing regular artwork. So I did both. But later on in life, that's when I got into like really leaning into doing this as a full time career.
Okay, I like that. I like that because one, I feel like you just took me on a journey, and I love that just because I was walking you through though. Just because
Yeah,
I understand. You know, like you said, the reputation, the middle school. I understand. Well,
right.
I've only been stung by a bee twice in my life. One time it was just at the pool when I was young, and another time it was when I
Ooh,
landscaped and we knocked down a hive. And unfortunately, I didn't run fast enough. So, and that hurt very badly. So I understand your sentiment of not wanting to go outside, not wanting to mess with them. I'm cool on the beach, just the same. But I also, in the same breath, I
man.
love the idea that you said, you know, your parents were scraping things together that reinforce, and but it reinforced something for you, and it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
being that young, it's all about how you respond. It's all about how it kind of translates to you. But for you, it was just like, wow. One, I don't know how they're doing this, but two, they see my passion. They're invested in my passion. Wow, maybe I can really, maybe this is really me using. I'm gonna use my imagination and just see how far this can really take me. But then, you go to school, you kind of take a leap of faith because customizing your own shoes, it could go one way or it could go another way. Especially being in middle school, especially being
Man.
some honest kids. Kids and they gonna give it to you. Elementary, middle, those was two. Those are some of the toughest kids in my world right there.
Yeah,
They
man.
gonna they gonna let you know right, wrong, or indifferent. So but then it became one
Yeah.
of those things where, oh wow, oh he got some fire. Like what, what's that? What's going on? And then from there, something to you that's just fun, that's just a passion, became a money making opportunity. So I love to kind of see that whole translation and really see it come full circle in a sense. But okay, so
Yeah, no doubt.
at what point did you? So you basically said that you hopped into this full time. So how did thinking about the high school route, thinking about kind of how you started monetizing and making things happen from there?
Yeah.
What really motivated you, or what really kind of propelled you to start taking off? Because obviously from there you branded yourself, Sneaker Fair Kicks. You've made things happen. You even showed us some custom projects. You have a studio set up. So what was that really like,
Right.
getting this all set up? Because like you said, this is not the most like populous space. I definitely know some people who do it. I definitely even connected you with somebody the other day who I said I just met him.
Yeah, for sure.
He does that, but this is not a space that you said. This is not like a clothing brand space or like makeup or like hair or something like that. This is something that you really only perfect this niche if that's just what you can do. Because sneakers, man, that's a hard material, especially if you're doing different ones, to be customizing on. And that's a different palette,
No doubt.
smaller palette, more specific. I've seen sometimes you post, you outline it first, you got to trade. You got to do the same process that you would just a regular painting or something like that. So what was it for Anthony that was just like, okay, it's time to brand myself. It's time to make this happen.
Oddly enough, it was just reflecting on some things. So prior to going into sneaker customization full time, I had went into being just a traditional artist full time. So man, it's been like 6 years now. So like three prior to that, so that's 20, I'm gonna say 2017. Yeah, it was January, actually, the beginning of 2017. I had lost like a real good job. I was having issues with management, and that never goes well. I it was just we didn't mesh, and I was doing my best to try to like fit in and like work for the team because I like doing team based things. It just didn't work, so I lost that job, and I was just feeling real bad, real just down because I'm like, man, I gotta uh at that time my son was a lap baby. It's like I got a brand new child, I'm married, I got this house, all this stuff, and I just lost a real good job. Like, what do I do? I'm stuck. Like, because now I got to start this process all over again, finding a comparable job. You know, and so in order to keep me out of that funk, I was like, I got to do the one thing that gives me peace. So I was just creating and doing that, and I said, you know what? At this point, it's gonna take me, I'm gonna say a couple weeks at least to find a job that's worth it. So I'm a lean into studying social media. I'm a lean into improving my craft, and if things work, I'm just gonna go full time if it works. And so, I mean, it hit, So for the first thing that hit for me was I landed this big show in Chicago, where the requirement to get in is that you have to sell like I think it's like $400 worth of tickets. If you can sell $400 worth of tickets, you get in the show. So, and that was a hustle, man. Shout out to my aunt. She came through in the end and bought like my last 20 tickets that I needed, you know. And that show, it was like thousands and thousands of people there. And all the work that I had been working on for like the last like 3 months or so, um, like I nearly sold like all of it. And I mean, I had my wife there, my dad was there, my grandmother who like really helped me get far and like advancing my art skills, was there. Like all the people who've been watching me, my whole life was there and was able to see me, like basically in my glory, see me do my thing and, just sell artwork, bam, 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 and that was nice, and so that confirmed for me that okay, you can do this if you apply and you work this hard continuously. So we can fast forward 2018. The army sent me to go take a class, and that was when all the rumors about COVID was coming out, and I was worried about what I would do as far as like being able to tour because I was doing like 2 shows every weekend, and that's how I was making money. I was doing an art show at least 1 or 2 a weekend, but that was coming up, and I'm like, man, like I hope this doesn't get bad because I grew up through SARS, bird flu, swine flu. If you in your late 20s, early 30s, or whatever, you grew up through that, and so I'm like, man, like a lot of things like went to a screeching halt when those outbreaks happened, and so I was worried about that, and so I'm watching this every day because, like CNN, CBS, all that stuff. If you want like a military installation, that stuff is on air almost every TV that you can find because they pretty much just watch the news all day. So when I was there, the governor of Illinois shut down Illinois like within like the first week of me being there. And so my brain was like, all right, so that our shows are done, for the time being. You got to pivot. So my brain was, just like it's immediately what I thought about was like, okay, we going back to customizing sneakers and we're gonna lean into it. Like I would back then I was just doing them occasionally because, it was my focus was just in a different spot. I had the ability, but I had shifted focus. So it's like, okay, shift back because sneaker culture is going insane right now. And now that everybody is going to be digital and going to be doing pretty much most of their lives digitally, living in their homes. People not gonna be going out that much, because everything was being shut down like this. Illinois shut down, then other states started shutting down just like that. Boom, 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 boom. So immediately I was like, this is the opportunity to take everything that you've been studying for these past 3 years about social media, about how to brand and market yourself. You need to lean in now, and but we're going to pivot from artwork and pivot to what is marketable right now, and which is sneakers. So that was the route I took, and I mean, like with just like that, boom. I produced a shoe when I got back home in like a week, and it was confirmation that it was time to just pivot from doing traditional art and go and lean into doing sneakers just full time.
Wow, it's just crazy to whenever I personally recall pre-COVID memories or pre-pandemic memories, it seems like the world was just totally different. So to hear about a lot of these things that you
Yeah,
were doing it's just like damn, like yeah, we were just living life. Everything was okay. Everything was copacetic. We didn't really have to worry about this. But it's just so crazy how literally you wake up one day, your whole world just feels shifted. Like everything just feels different. Like you said, I told my family and friends at one point, this is like they would ask me, how I'm doing or like what's been going on. I'm just like, yo. I'm literally just taking it day by day. Like you can literally wake up
Yeah.
tomorrow, we be on lockdown, or you wake up like I remember I was in Philadelphia before I moved down here to Tampa, and we were on a curfew. But at the time, I was an essential worker, so I
Wow.
was working at Target. But I literally had to carry around a paper signed by my CEO and signed by my managers that said, "Hey, it's okay for him to be on the streets out after this time. He just got off work like that." It was, bro.
Wow.
It was wild. Like just depending on where you were, where you live, but just how it messed with a lot of people's businesses crash, whether that be your 9 to 5 and you may be getting laid off, or you may be having to do something different, whether it be you went from being in the office to now being completely remote and having to set up at home and everybody not having to work set up. So maybe you having to find office space and things like that. Or whether you just be a business owner or entrepreneur. And whereas you relied on, customers, you relied on in person, you relied on events, shows, different things like that. Well, this is y'all way of just y'all just put all that to an end. And y'all basically just telling us, well, help may be on the way, assistance may be coming soon, but for right now,
Right.
y'all kind of just got to fend for yourself. And it's just like, yo, that can really, put some people on panic mode, or like, yo, like, what do you want me to do? Especially when this is out of our control. We didn't start this, and like you said, we
Right.
lived through different things where the magnitude of it really caused things to shut down and change life as we know it. But this is something where I remember getting a job offer from a place in North Carolina, and they literally told me, well, look, this just happened or whatever. It is what it is. But look, once this is over, or once this dies down, we'll reach back out to you. You're still our top candidate. Well, man, that was in 2019, and here we are, 2020. It
Right.
doesn't feel like this has died down the slightest. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, it's rapidly increased. So for me, I was hitting the company up for months, like, yo, like, hey, just following up, just wanted to make sure everything is still good. Well, 3 months, 4 months down the line, I felt like okay, I'm being annoying right now. Like I got the job offer. I feel like I'm still applying for this at this point. So you know what? I had to, you had to make things shake. But that really just goes to show how the times we're living in, it's literally causing things to just go. You really just don't know what's happening, what's going on. But I'm glad that you were able to, hone in on that. So as I was kind of touching
Yeah, no doubt.
more recently, yeah, and even just in the interview in general, something that I love just about what you do, why I admire it so much, is just because it's so unique. I love sneakers. I love when they look good. I love customizing. So the fact that you put those two things together is dope to me. But at the same time, I also know this isn't just like regular art. Like every artist can't just do sneaker customizations. Every painter, every drawer, that's not just their lane. That's not just their niche. And it's not to say that they're a bad artist, but that's just a really particular skill that you have to learn, and you have to really. Every sneaker is different. Every person
Mm-hmm.
is different. Every design, all of that. So, what would you say that from being in art at such a young age, from really going through everything, from the middle school to the high school to monetizing to really getting into this lane to the shows to everything? What is something that sneaker customization has really taught you about this field? Whether it be something that it was a trial by fire type thing, a trial and error you messed up, whether it just be something that you just had to learn, or maybe even something that after you said you did some reflection, you found out, yo, this is a different type of ball game. Like I really have to, kind of shift my perspective a little bit when it comes to this field.
Yeah. Sneaker customization, oddly enough. So I've been doing it for like 20 years, and I've seen a lot of things change, like what people customize, what people consider to be a custom. I remember when I first started this, a lot of people weren't interested in it because they considered it like basically bootlegging sneakers. And but when I decided to lean into it full time, the realization I came to was oddly enough the role that I wanted to play in the actual community of sneaker customizers. And what I mean was that so I got into the social media aspect of sneaker customizing late. um when I first started, again, like 2002, 2003, there was no MySpace, Facebook, obviously no Instagram. Social media was like Black Planet, like stuff like that. It was individual websites, and forums, going in forums. So the large amount of information, no YouTube. So, you had to learn by trial and error or know somebody who was successful at it. So I came to realize that the ball game had changed because I started to discover groups like in Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And I started to see that, unlike myself, a lot of artists were discovering their love for art or their artistic abilities through customizing sneakers. They hadn't stumbled on customizing sneakers, whatever way like I did. They were, you know, people with a love of sneakers first and then a love of art. And so I started to see, that a lot of I'll say just like newer artists, they hadn't had the training on like how to do things, so they would find difficulties with doing certain things. And to me, I'm like, oh, that's easy. But I would have to remember, it's like, well, it's easy for me because I've had the experience and the training. You know, I'm at an advantage. Or I would see that like certain customs, as far as like behaviors, certain customs were not observed by the custom sneaker community, like critiques. They weren't familiar with ways to critique that would not wind up with like an argument, or would not wind up with like breaking up friendships or things like that. Basically starting unnecessary discourse. They weren't aware of the process of how to do that. And then there's like different techniques, like how to use certain colors in certain ways or things like that. It's still a very like infant like culture in the arts community. Like, urban art has existed forever. You got graffiti, things like that. But this is very unique in the fact that customizing is like a very unique blend of fashion and art. And and in that way it is its own culture in itself, and it is like the bridge between the two. So it's kind of like, I don't think we as a community have like really decided on like what like the established rule. Like graffiti has its own set of rules, how to do things, how to go about it, customs and culture. It has that. This is still like so new because it mixes so many elements of creativity and culture into one. And so I started to realize that I wanted to play a role in like helping the culture develop in a positive way.
Yo, you just, even as somebody, not even in that space, you just open my eyes up, like you said, to just the certain customs as far as the behaviors you mean, and just things that are acceptable. Because I mean, you don't think about that when you're not in that particular industry, but if you think about it, every industry has, almost in a sense like that code, that what's the right, what's the wrong, different things like that. But when
Yeah.
you're getting into newer concepts or newer things, it's like, where do you draw that line, or who's kind of, or is this kind of just like a makeshift thing? Is this a trial by fire type thing? Some things that you just have to learn, or certain things that other artists
Right.
just don't have that mindset. So whereas this can be an understanding amongst sneaker creators or sneaker customizers, at the end of the day, if somebody's mindset, or if somebody is just not there, like, or if they just don't think that way, or if their personality is just a little bit different, they can still throw off the code or what people are following by or abiding by. Some people are just going to be them, pride themselves on being
Right.
individuals
Right.
and just being unique and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting perspective, bro. That's very cool. Something that I'm really wondering about too is that, okay, so I see the studio, I see the shoelaces, I see the paint, I could imagine what else you got in there too that we can't even see, that's on the camera. So what is something as
Oh yeah, it's
somebody,
all kind of stuff
there's
in
a
here.
lot of, right. So as somebody, not per se a studio owner or anything like that, what are some things that you really had to think about and you really had to consider with the upkeep and with the maintenance of a studio of your caliber?
Oh man, keeping it clean. That is something that I just never thought. I just thought, okay, whatever. I keep it clean. That's what you do. You keep a room clean. But by nature, um, by my creative process starts out large and then it condenses to a more refined product. So in that way, my room starts out clean and gets messy as I go. And I clean up after. So that's one thing. But managing my space, because orders come in, they just, like this, boom 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 boom. When your marketing is on points, you will receive those orders. Now you have to manage your space better, so I have to manage my space in my studio a lot better, because I mean, like, there's a pile of shoes over here in this corner, and those belong to people. Now I have to produce at a decent space, at a decent pace, because that will pile up. And now I'm running out of space. Like, let's say, I need a certain piece of equipment, and now I have to consider, like, do I have the space for it? Well, I got this big pile over here, that's taking up space that equipment might fit in, or recently I had to get more shelves. Like, these shelves, I had to add these in here to optimize my space, because otherwise these paint bottles would have been in a drawer that was like falling apart because it was getting too heavy. uh you know Books, my list of books, I had to have those put in like a decent shelving, because otherwise they'd be like in a corner somewhere just making a mess. Different things like that. So with a studio, it is really, to me, managing the space and optimizing what kind of room you have, because I mean, it's not big at all. It's probably, I would say it's a guest room, so it's not that big, um, but it's not, with it not being so big, I have to optimize the space. And so the smartest thing for me to do was to like get shelving, and be really aware of like the pace of production I have, so that I'm not just like leaving like unnecessary boxes and unnecessary products, that even stuff that I don't use. That's probably a good one too. It's like, getting being honest with yourself and getting rid of things you don't use. Maybe it looked like a good idea when you first bought it, and it's been like 6 months, and you used it twice. It's gotta go. It's gotta go. Like, maybe you used it once, because you only needed it once, uh, it's gotta go. Just find somebody else who wants it, or toss it. But space management is probably the biggest thing for a studio.
I would say that's important. You use the word aware, but I also think too, and just hearing your method and how you do things and how you did things and how you're even set up, it also sounds like you're very intentional with what you do. Like you said, you knew that you have to
Yeah.
produce at a certain pace. You knew that your drawer was falling apart. You knew that you have to keep this organized. Something that I think about a lot is how that's important, whether it just be a studio, whether it be a store, whether it be a room, whether it be anything. As a creator, as a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to consider yourself, you have to recognize your schedule, your thoughts, your mind, everything like that. You need a space that can
No doubt.
elevate that, not that adds to it. You don't want to just have all these ideas, all these orders in your case, all these episodes or content just to do, and then you walk into a disorganized room and you can't find things, or you're looking for stuff, or you should have thrown that away, or it's not clean. When that's just adding more fuel, and now you're just like, wow, I'm everywhere with it. So I definitely think that that's important. I can just look at the layout and things from what I can see, and it's very, neat, orderly, making things happen. So I think that that's really important, especially for what you do. It could be paint everywhere. Sometimes it could be sneakers everywhere, equipment here, shoelaces
Oh
here,
man, for
things like that.
sure.
So I imagine you. I could imagine when you're really in your bag, when you're really in your zone, it could get a little wild in there. But the fact that
That's for sure.
you set your intentions and you abide by them very strictly and effectively, I think that that's important. So well, another point that you just brought up. Okay, orders. So what is I understand that you take orders, you get the customizations too, but is that pretty much the sneaker fair kicks way of operation? Do you ever just kind of go out, see a pair of sneakers, buy them, customize them yourself, maybe say, hey, just did these, selling them, or is this all people kind of just coming to you with things that they want and visions that they want to bring to life, or do you ever just kind of just get some pairs in and then just put them out to the public, just put your own spin on things too?
Yeah, occasionally. So the issue again is coming down to timing, and it's the logistics is probably the biggest thing with creating something personal, or creating an original piece and then marketing the piece. It is easier to market the brand than market a piece, because now when you make a piece, now you have to find the target audience for that piece. Like I'll show you something. I made these, as like a refurbish. I bought them, I refurbished them, and then I customized them. Now, obviously, you can see this is it's a Pokemon, and it's a Pokemon from the OG, back in the day. So this shoe fits a specific niche. Not only that, but it's a nine. It's a size 9. So now it's only a particular group of people that can wear this. It's a men's 9. So I have to find a man that wears a 9, that likes Pokemon, and wears sneakers. So, probably thousands or millions of them. But the issue is that I have to find them, and I have to also um, market and convince someone that this shoe is worth the price that I say it is, which I mean, for me the price is the price, but I'm not so unaware that there's a bit of marketing that goes into convincing someone that this price is worth the investment, because it's an investment. It no matter what, these are investments, because I'm not selling you just a sneaker. You can go to Nike or whoever and get a pair of sneakers. I'm selling you a collector's item, with the advantage that you can wear them. So with that being said, there is a bit of an understanding that needs to happen, and I need to be able to convey that value to that person, however necessary. So that there's that aspect of it, but overall it is really like a logistical thing, and mainly the timing, because there has to be a significant gap in my time that I have to allot myself to say, okay, you have this amount of time and this amount of time only to complete this project, because maybe I'm in between projects, or maybe some I have to prioritize something. Sometimes I have to prioritize one project over another, although one of those projects came before the one that I need to prioritize. It could be something as simple as a client has a request that I believe I can handle, like a time request, and I believe I can handle it, so I have to prioritize one over the other, and that means that any personal projects, any personal ideas I have go on the back burner. It can be things like that. It could be uh like sourcing material. I have an idea, I need a certain material, or I need a certain shoe base, and it's going to take me some time. Well, I can't prioritize looking for that when I have other people's work. And that's the thing, is that other people's work come in so fast, because again, it's easier to market the brand than it is to market a complete product. The brand is easy. My Instagram, my Facebook, my website. If you see what I like, then your brain will fire off, and you'll come up with potential ideas that suit you. So, the brand sells itself. You see what you see, maybe you read some of the things I talk about. You might have caught an article, or you seen a video that I was in talking about my projects and things, and you get inspired. You just need me to make your vision a reality. That's what you need from me. But when I produce a vision, of my own, I'm dependent on you to accept that. So it's easier just to, work off what the clients want. But I mean, after developing a reputation, it becomes a lot easier just to sell what you have if you can produce it. Because at that point, when you have a reputation, it also creates a air of rarity to your work. So knowing when people know that what you do is lucrative and that it keeps you busy and gainfully employed, keeps you engaged, well, if you manage to produce something that comes out of your head with no outside inspiration, like a client's vision, then they know that that is uniquely to you. That makes that more rare. Maybe you can market that at a higher rate, or maybe somebody who actually is looking for that. That's more of a art collector's game. You know, an art collector will more likely be interested in getting that because they're familiar with buying. They're familiar with buying solely off the artist's inspiration. So it depends, but it's always gonna be easier to market the brand than it is to market it an already pre-made shoe.
Definitely put it into perspective from me just off the Pokemon size 9. Yeah, that's very specific. And whereas you can definitely find that it's definitely very common out there. That's more of a task that you have to put on yourself rather than
Right.
you make your service available. They come to you, you bring the vision to life. Much simpler, much easier turnaround, everything like that. So I like that. Okay, you definitely just kind of gave me a different like a perspective, but at the same time an understanding as to just your thought process was kind of going into that, but also just the art, like you said, the art game in general. I didn't even really think about that. When it's all said and done, these pieces that you're making, these are collector's items. These are very unique. You're never going to find these ever again. So you
Right.
look back some years from now, or just different things like that. Yo, like this is one of a kind. Like you're not getting this, size 9. Just these the OG Pokemon. You feel me? So okay, I like that a lot, man. So thinking about the outlook of the year, we are kind of moving through the year. We're still very early in the year, but there's still a lot of time left to
Yeah,
not
man.
only be creative, but just to make things happen. Can you leave the people with anything, whether it just be some events that you got coming up? What can they look forward to? Because like I said, I already know some people are going to be tapping in. I know my fellas in the sneaker space, because I know my dogs love the sneaks. From the reselling to just the grabbing them to just their own pair. So I already know that some of my people, some of my mutuals is going to be reaching out. But yeah, is there anything that
No
the
doubt. No
sneaker pair
doubt.
kicks has coming immediate on the horizon, or anything that we can look forward to, as the year progresses?
Yeah, you could look forward to me becoming more famous. But outside of that, the one thing I want to put on people's radar is that we already launched it. This is our second year. Between me and my partner Ben Silas, we have a program that we do with local elementary schools. It's called Concept to Kicks, and what this program is we teach these students about entrepreneurism, but through the lens of art. Now, it's not necessarily to show them that they too, if they choose to become artists, can make money off their art. It's not the point. That's like a residual effect of the program. The program is actually designed to teach them that their thoughts can be manifested into tangible items, so that whatever it is that they want to do, and we use those words intentionally, the thoughts can be manifested into a tangible item. So our students could be engineers. If they think it, then they can build it. It's we're showing them that it's possible through a very simple idea. Is that we give them a blank sheet with like a template of a shoe, and we let them design it. We give them a theme. This year's theme is moving across time. So we just give them a vague concept, and we let them decide what those words mean to them. So one of our students did a theme of like overfishing. So she's speaking about what's happening to the ocean and to our climate through overfishing over the years. And we let that ride. That's her vision. So what we're doing is we're showing them that they can basically, in a sense, it's almost telling them that they can be whatever they want to be, but it's through a really simple reward system. If they get chosen through the hundreds of students that we allow into to try this project with us, if they get chosen, they get a tangible shoe. They're gonna come out of it, boom, with a pair of shoes. So that reward system, that feedback loop, that mental feedback loop is like, I did this, somebody saw it, they approved of what I did, and they created this, shows them that, they could do that exact same thing. And so what we also do is that we grab grants and things like that. So these students will also get to participate to include the entire student body in creating murals throughout their towns and their cities, basically so that they can see the concept of improving the areas that they live in, because these students, be they inner city kids or suburban kids, live in very urban environments. A lot of these kids, they probably don't have like the opportunities, similar to me. They don't have the opportunities to get a fresh pair of shoes like all the time. So they're getting this, but they're also seeing, that they can improve their own environments through just area beautification. Boom, putting up a mural inside the school, putting up a mural somewhere in the city. So that's something I want to put on people's radar. You can find more information about it on my IG page, sneakerfairkicks.com. We also have a GoFundMe. You can really Google it. It's just concepts to kicks. You can type in my name, Concept to Kicks, and type in Anthony Amos. That's ANTHONYAMOS. You look that up, you'll see us. And please, if you have anything, go ahead and donate something to the GoFundMe page. Anything counts, from $1 to a penny. We'll take it. It's for a good cause. What kids don't like Jordans, and what kids don't want to participate in helping out the community. And also, again, it's about teaching them about entrepreneurship and teaching them that they can manifest their ideas into tangible things. Anything is possible for them. And I mean, other than that, you know just give me a follow, pay attention, because I'm active on social media. And this year is going to be a great year. I got some things that I can't necessarily talk about because they're still in works. We're still at the table talking about them. And I don't believe in talking about anything until it's set in stone. But they're gonna happen for sure. And then who knows what else, because I'm always marketing, I'm always networking, and you never know where you'll find me. But stay tuned.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it, man. And y'all know how I feel about the youth, man. I actually had the opportunity to be able to speak to Heights Academy in DC just about what I do as a podcaster and things like that. So big shout out to my girl Jasmine
Nice.
for that. And just like you said, just recognizing that it's so much at their fingertips, and sometimes they just need that exposure. Sometimes they just need somebody there who makes it look cool. The same way that
Absolutely.
in the social media, that all of these rappers and artists and things and athletes, they make all this stuff look cool. Well, art can be cool, podcasting can be cool, business can be cool, just different things like that. So I love that you're doing that, bro.
Yeah.
Check out
Yeah.
the GoFundMe. So shout out to you
Appreciate that.
for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, bro.
Because
So,
I didn't have that, man.
oh yeah,
I I I
and that's
didn't.
why for
I
me
didn't I didn't have that. I
it's
didn't
so
have that
important.
at all.
It's
So,
so important, bro. The fact
you
that
know,
the fact that I always tell people all the time that the fact that we're in these positions to be able to do things that we didn't get done to us, man, it should really make you just without a question just want to just do it, bro. Just want to knock it out. The fact that this could be. I think about my little brother. I think about his kids. I think about my kids to come. I think about just generations on generations. The more we just empower them and equip them, it's gonna make
yeah.
it just easier, and just we're gonna open the world to so many different things, bro. So please keep what you're doing up, man. I love that. I love that. So you kind of did it
Yeah.
already, but I just
Appreciate
want
that,
to, of
man.
course. I just want to make sure that we get it clear and concise. So for everybody out there, before we officially close out and wrap things up, can you just tell us where we can tap in with you, where we can see the content, where we can place any orders, everything like that? What's the best places to find you?
Absolutely. So the best place to find me is number one, you can check my website, sneakerfairkicks.com. That's sneaker, it's all one word, sneaker FARE kicks with an S.com. This the same thing on IG. IG handles sneaker fair kicks. Um you can find me you can find me on Facebook, same thing. Or you can use my regular name. I follow you. Uh, Other than that, catch me in the wind and catch me on the news.
All right, now I like that, man. Like you said, is the only thing on it. Well, one of the things on the trajectory for the year is just more fame, man, more exposure, all of that. So definitely wishing you that, bro. From me to you, I definitely appreciate it. Appreciate the fact that I've never been able to meet you face to face, but you've shown me so much love. You've given me suggestions. You've even hopped on here today. You've given me insight. You've given me a look into your story, how you came to
Yeah,
be what you are, but also how you're not done. You really just getting it started. You continue to elevate, continue to make things happen, but then you also left a call to action out there for not only my followers, but for me, but just for different people, for the youth, for generations to come, everything like that. So thank you,
yeah,
bro.
man.
Thank you for everything that you got on here. Thank you for being a part of my platform. Thank you for making that impact on the youth, bro, because we need it, especially coming from Chicago to North, just things like the mid, well, Chicago's the Midwest, but I can relate as a Northerner, just, what goes on up there and just
Right.
everything is everything is
Yeah,
not the way that it should be just around the world, but just especially in particular places like those, bro. So, just continue to impact, continue to make it happen. Anything that I can do personally or anything that we as the Down to Business podcast can do for Sneaker Fair Kicks, we will definitely make it happen, man. So for everybody out there, for everybody who continues to tap in, who continues to show love, who has made this year such a memorable one so far, thank you. This has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner.